just finished my workout like 1 second ago. Recover, and I'm drenched in sweat.
Go you.
Well, I was like, I have to get it done now.
Hey guys, can you hear me or no? Yeah? Okay. Do I have you all muted? Because I couldn't hear you. Or did you just all mute yourself? I don't know. Like I have no sound.
I muted myself.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Because I can see you talking and can hear anything. I'm like, oh crap, now we don't have anything. Hi, Sami. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Thank you for doing this for us.
Of course.
How are your wedding plans coming along? Is everything, what's happening?
Everything's pretty good. I mean, I'm currently in California and our wedding's in Michigan, so it's kind of a crazy thing going on, but I think the hard part now is that I was going to go home and get my wedding dress altered, and now I don't know. I don't know if I got to send in measurements or what's going to happen, but we're just rolling with it.
I know. That's all we can do. We can just roll with it.
Yep, exactly.
All right. Give me 1 second. I'm going to close my door. Okay. Happy Friday 13th, everyone. What a day, huh? All right, it is 2:01, so we are going to get going. Let me just expand my screen a little bit. Okay, I am recording just for, because I know we had a couple people like Karen who couldn't be on. Karen works at a school and they're kind of putting some plans in place for closures and things like that. So we're going to record Sami because I know you're going to just drop amazing wisdom today, and we want to make sure we can watch that again. April, you look like you're going out in the snow or something. You're always cold. She's got her big jacket on, like it's January. So I usually have my heater on right here too, so I feel you. So it's snowing in Washington. It's not snowing here, thank goodness. Sami's the lucky one. She's in California, so she's got the good weather. So thanks for tuning in. And we got a little special edition of our Friday Mastermind. Sami, several people on this call had said how inspired they were by you at NLC, and of course now leading the #4 team in the network, which is so exciting. And we were just hoping you would sort of share some of maybe what you shared at NLC and let them ask some questions. And what we have on here today is a combination of veteran coaches, like very veteran coaches, and also very, very new coaches. So it's a diverse mix, but at the same time, you know, we're all doing the same thing. We're all, you know, it's just maybe a veteran coach with a bigger goal is doing more of it, but we're all doing the same thing. So why not take it all and learn? And our veteran coaches also have coaches with whom they can share some of this too. So I'm going to kind of turn it over to them and let them ask you some questions. But if you want to share a little bit of what you did at NLC and maybe start us off with that, and then all of you, if you've got anything specific that you wanted to talk about, because Rihanna, I know you saw it at NLC and you were a big fan, and let's stick it in the chat there too, and so she can kind of see that and address that. And Sami, we're just really appreciative for you to share a little bit of time with us on this random Friday with all the craziness going on.
No, I actually appreciate the interruption just because it's nice to have just come back to a normal place. So if you guys don't know me, my name is Sami. I am 28 years old. My fiance goes to UC Berkeley. So we are actually from Michigan. I finished my master's last year in health science and then came out here, and I do Beachbody full time now. But a little bit about what I did at NLC was 2 different presentations, very, very different. One was about how I kind of brought joy back to challenge groups. And to me, I mean, I felt very weird that they asked me to talk about this because I'm like, oh no, I'm going to have to give them my secret that I actually hated challenge groups up until about last January. Like, I saw so much value in them. I thought they were super amazing. But for me, it was my least favorite part about the business, especially whenever you'd go on Pinterest or you'd watch the National Wake Up Call, you would pick up little things. And I felt like I was just implementing too many things, but also implementing nothing at the same time. And so I saw so many different check-ins of, post your sweaty selfie, do your shake recipe. And I said this at NLC, but I've been drinking the same Shakeology recipe since pretty much day one. Like, I am not someone that throws in different berries. I mean, so for me to comment every single day, vegan vanilla Shakeology with 1 scoop peanut butter. I mean, it just was super repetitive. And so it's not to say I didn't run them, but something about it needed to change last year, because I really wanted to hone in on, usually when people join me, they're either joining as strictly a client and we're never going to probably ever coach, or they're a business builder. To me, wasn't really great at like the funneling, and I wasn't really converting a lot of my clients into becoming working coaches. So I had like 2 designated areas for my people, which, pros and cons, right? But I really wanted to get better at it. And so I realized that was the place to start. So just a couple things I implemented last year. I created 1 challenge group. So I have ran the 1 challenge group since January 2019, and that alone gave me so much less anxiety, because I was making a group, another group, another group, another group. And for someone who travels a lot, I would be on the road and I would be like, oh my gosh, I got to create the group, then a cover photo, then I got to create those people. Now I got to get those people into the group. And I've had anxiety since I was diagnosed at 12 years old. So for me, that stuff is nails on a chalkboard, and I would rather outsource it, but I don't have an assistant. So I realized that I was going to have 1 cover photo. It was the title of the group for a year, and it worked out really well. And one of the problems that I was going to try to go across from going from group to group was, what do I do about prep week? What do I do about my group starts in 2 weeks? What do I do? So one was I created a unit, and the unit has prep week resources in there. So it has 3 different things. One just being me, quick little live video saying, this is my group, this is where you check in, this is what I expect from you, and this is what you should expect from me. Yes, everything is on Facebook. I personally like to keep it on Facebook just because just so many different apps. I tried to simplify was basically my word of 2019 without realizing it. So this prep week has just me going over everything in the group, where to check in, what to expect. One is Autumn just going over the basic ultimate portion fix. And if I have someone do To Be Mindset, I will kind of send that separately, but 99% of my people follow what I'm doing, and I always have done ultimate portion fix. So it's just her breaking down the containers, kind of going through that. And then one is a new client guide. And so I'll show you guys that. It's something, again, I outsourced because graphics are not something that are my specialty, but I wanted something that they could use going forward if they wanted to print it off. And so this was actually someone I paid on Etsy. It was just a Beachbody client. I have a coach and a client guide. It was like $100 and maybe $25. I've used it for over a year. So between that and the grand scheme of things, it paid for itself, but not something you have to do. Just, I wasn't good at it. So I realized the time I was spending, I could go help 3 people and it would pay for itself. So this guide has anything from just like the welcome, my statement, a little bit about me. And what I did was I just sent her all of my information. So basically, the little nitty gritty is what I did, and she had a huge template for everything else. So this is my little statement, my transformation, her getting started right checklist, and they have access to this in my prep week resources. Some people use it, some people don't, but I have it there just so that my visual people can just print it off and be like, step 1, access Beachbody on demand. Step 2, find your program. And that's kind of where I come into play, obviously, too. But this is really great for the people that are kind of coming in, especially when I am traveling. Like, I didn't want to have to always be on my computer plugging them into things. So they request into the group and I'm like, step number 1, go check out prep week. Simple. And then another thing that I started doing was I started doing weekly check-ins rather than daily check-ins, because that was also kind of where it came into play of drop your sweaty selfie, what's your shake recipe? And I was sick of trying to be so creative and find the pipeline of what to make people check in. And so there's a theme every single week. Something from a partner challenge, which is what my group thrives on the most, where people, like if I have 2 new clients, I just strategically pair them together. But my group knows, hey, partner week's coming. You have 48 hours, drop in the feed if you need a partner or tag a partner, it's coming. And so for that week, they check in with this person that they've never met. Or if they need a partner, I check in. I find them someone kind of like I have a mom, I try to pair with another mom. If I have someone on the East Coast, I try to pair. And if it doesn't, it's okay because they check in whenever they want. But they, one person checks in. Who is your resource on Etsy? I think her name is Danielle, Nazir. That's what comes to play. Danielle Nazir. I think that's her name. She has a ton of Beachbody stuff. If you guys are ever needing graphics of any kind, she's amazing. It was really fast too. I paid for it and I had it back within like 48 hours. But I did get her all of that information. So I was like, she needs these 10 things, got it to her, and it was back. But the partner week, say Julie's my partner, I'm going to check in on Monday. Here's my workout 1. She's going to check in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And our goal is 10 workouts in that week, just because I want to accommodate people who are doing like Lift 4 or a 5 workout program. And then the people who have more. And then at the end of the week, I just choose a random partnership that I felt like checked in the most. Usually if I offer incentives in my group, which is about every other week, I would say anything from a sample pack of Energize to something a little bit bigger, so on and so forth. So it doesn't need to be a lot of money, just my people love gifts. So sometimes it's just a handwritten card with a decal. Sometimes it's just a handwritten card. But it's pretty cool to kind of see the partnerships form because a lot of them become a lot of friends out of it. And for me, I was really missing the camaraderie in my group. And I think that also made me not want to check in because it'd be the same 6 people checking in or then the same 20 people and then your group goes. And so I wanted to bring in those like stray dogs that were there watching, but were too shy. And so that was a huge game changer. And then things other than the partner challenge, we in my group compete for a lot of different things. So for one day, I will do one week, I will do a cover, not a cover photo, but it looks like a cover photo. And I will pin it to the top of the group. Every single week I pin the post. And so it'll be like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And it's still a daily check-in, but I don't have to post it every day. And so Wednesday could be a water challenge in the sense of, if you want to go that direction, let's race to 100 bottles of water. And for every 100 bottles of water, I will choose a winner for a $5 Starbucks gift card. Like just kind of getting them to work together. And so I check in 1, 2, 3, and it gets them obviously to drink more water. And I strategically choose the challenges based on what I feel like they're struggling with. So sometimes it's water. Sometimes it's servings of vegetables. Sometimes it's wins against your excuses because I worked in the dental field. And I would go to the back room and I would be great all day. And then I would see a cookie and I ate the cookie, so I would have, instead of doing that, I would have checked into my group and that would have helped me along the way. So that really, really changed a lot of my perspective of challenge groups because I kind of created a lot of friendships and I watched the dynamics grow throughout the year. And then trying to think what else really benefited me then. I do weekly emails to my people. So as they sign up, they get put into my pipeline on Google Streak. Google Streak has kind of been a game saver in the sense of, if anything, a mail merge. So a mail merge, send all of the emails all at once. They all get it individually. And I send them like a weekly recipe or a weekly check-in, just saying, how are you doing? This is what I struggled with this week. This is my game plan. Obviously right now, my email is kind of geared towards 10 rounds. This is my plan. This is when my group is starting. And then, what can I help you with this week? What did you like? What did you not like? Are you enjoying your program? And it's not to say everyone's going to respond every single week, but it's my way of, when I've been in this business for almost 5 years, the people 3 years ago, I want to make sure that the retention is still there and that I am still being the coach. And if they don't respond, then that's more on them rather than, I felt like I was really missing that because with the group to group, it was fine. But when January came around and by June, if someone had gone on vacation, life happened, they had a baby, I wasn't going back to my January group trying to rope them back into June. Like I didn't have an organized system. And for someone that's thrives on organization, that's also why I didn't enjoy challenge groups. It wasn't that I didn't enjoy challenge groups. I didn't enjoy my structure. And so I simplified everything I could just to make sure that, at the end of the day, you could have the prettiest graphics. You could have the prettiest check-ins, the most amazing things, and your group could be terrible. Or you can make sure that your people are being served, you are bringing the energy, and your group could be the greatest thing ever, and it could be the most, terrible graphics ever. So that's what I really wanted to get myself out of my own head about because I just blamed the system rather than fixing it. And so for me, I wanted to go back to basics last year and get really, really great at it. And it made me check in more, which made them check in more. So that when I was checking into that feed for the week, I would screen record my iPhone. Just a little function you can add to your iPhone. You can just Google screen record, and I would tape my screen as I was going to check in, and I would just screen record the feed of all these different people checking in, and I would post it on my Instagram stories. And it was almost like a subtle way of just saying, you're going to want this, you're going to need this, this is what you are missing out on. And that changed a lot for me getting new people in, because once they realized what they were missing, I had more and more people want to be a part of it. And so that was like topic number one. Do you guys have any questions about that? That was like speech number one I gave.
Questions on that? Feel good about that?
Cool. Well, okay. So the second one is probably going to be more geared towards people who have business builders, or write this down for your future business builders, because in Beachbody, you're going to have a lot of people come in that say they want to work the business, and you're going to be so excited. You're going to spend all the time in the world, and they're never going to build a business. Like, if you have any like that, I've had a million. And it's so hard, because as leaders, we want to do everything in our power to make sure our people succeed. And I was doing a lot of that in spending time in the wrong areas, not with the wrong people, but with the wrong areas, because I would immediately drop everything and get on a call. And then I would see someone have a really great month. Then they would go away for 3 months, and then they told me that they were ready to come back. And because they succeeded that first month, I was like, you're in. I know you can do this once. You're going to do it again. And I would drop everything of what I was doing and spend more time with that person. So in the last 2 years, I really reorganized how I made sure my coaches were meeting me halfway rather than running to them. And so the first thing I started implementing was a tracking group. This was game changer, and this is usually statistically I always work with my PS coaches. Statistically, you could work with your downline if you still have a smaller downline, but statistically, when I run this group, it is the most amount of my coaches hitting Success Club. And it's super, super simple, and it's a little bit micromanagey, but it's also your way of meeting them in the middle. So I'm actually running one right now. And so any of my PS coaches that say, Sami, I want to work the business, I put them in a group Facebook thread. And I tell them right away, this is not a brainstorm. This is not where you post a Zoom link. This is not a check-in. This is not anywhere to complain or succeed. This is all you're supposed to do is an accountability check. So what I do is I will add all of their names. Actually, I have it right. I'll show you how basic this is. Remember, my word is simple. So can you guys see my notes section right here of the names? So this is what's happening right now. Okay. So what I do is, we'll say you have 5 people that are like, I want to work the business. You put them in a group thread and you tell them day one. Again, these are the qualifications. You can have 1 strike and then you are out. Although, softball is 2 strikes and you're out. This month I chose to double up a little bit, because what I realize is that business builders track every day. They don't go away for a couple days, because if you're missing 2-3 days a month, that's 1/10 of your month. That's a lot of time. And if you think about a year in a span, 1/10 of a year, that's a whole month that you're missing your business if you're not tracking. And for me, the only reason I ever hit diamond was because I actually started tracking. So we know that, but it's our way of meeting them in the middle. So anyone who wants to work the business gets put in, and they have 2 options. They can either choose to use the Success Club tracker. I actually created a tracker with Kate Schultes in December of 2018, so they can use either one of those, or they have the choice to just send 15 invites. Not 15 conversations, not 15 reach outs, 15 invites. That is their check-in for the day. And I tell them day one, set an alarm in your phone, because you're going to forget about the group. You're going to, screenshot your tracker, and you're going to forget. And I'm on the Pacific Coast, so some of them do their workouts in the morning. They can't check in until I do. So what I will do every single morning, I wake up about 5:15, and that's the first thing I do. I see who checked in, and every time someone checks in, I bold it in the note. Like, that's just my own. You could underline it. You could do a paper and pen. But for me, my note's also on my phone. So as people check in, I just go into my note, bold, Sami Glonek, she checked in. She's good for the day. And then at the end of the day, I see who did or didn't check in the morning. If I see Sami didn't check in, strike 1, Sami Glonek tagged in the group. And then I post the next day's thread. So today, just March 13th, check in. And then remove anyone who has 2 strikes. So this group usually starts with a lot of people and it slowly dwindles. But the last 2 times I ran it, just to give you some statistics, in December, we had about 30 people start, 11 people ended, 9 people hit Success Club. Time before that, about 30 people started. I think 13 people stayed and 10 people hit Success Club. So odds are definitely in the favor of, if you're going to do it, you're going to meet me halfway. And it's also really great as a leader, because now I can say, oh, so-and-so didn't hit Success Club, but they were in the tracking group all month long. If they were sending that many invites, I'm going to meet them halfway. I want to know why they're not hitting Success Club if they're sending that many invites or they're doing their tracker every single day. And I tell them day one, I'm like, 2 things happen if you get through the end of this group and you didn't hit Success Club. One, you lied, and it's sad, but teachers know when their students are cheating. I've also, before I hit Diamond, sent my sister Jamie a tracker that was filled out that didn't do anything. And 2, you are either sending the wrong thing or you're finding the wrong people. And I want to meet you halfway. So if they get to the end of the group and they're not at Success Club, that is where I can really hone in on. And so in April, I know exactly who the first people I want to reach out to have a one-on-one with, because they're the people that showed up every single day. And I need to figure out, to go back into their conversations. What's going on? What are you saying? What's the biggest objection that you're having? And it's kind of my way of really just not so much micromanaging, but sitting back and being like, well, I can see why so-and-so tells me they want to work a business, but they checked out of the group on day 7. They're not ready for me. And Melanie Mitro said this at my NLC, and I thought it was so important. She was like, what they can do on the tracker is before they can use my help. So what she does is, if she'll say, hey, do your tracker for a week or 2, and let's reevaluate in 2 weeks what you're doing. And when they haven't done that, she's like, I didn't need a call with them. But if they've done that, she's going to get on a one-on-one and we're going to set it down and we're going to look at exactly what you're doing and what you're doing wrong. And so it's a good way of really reevaluating your time, because so many times I get on a one-on-one with someone that doesn't meet me halfway and I'm believing in it more than they are. And that's a problem. Do you post the notes from the preview day? Previous day, I'm assuming? Preview day? Can you clarify your question real quick?
Yeah, I can't even see what I wrote, but yeah, that's not right. When you're in your group and you just showed us that screenshot of the notes, is that what you post the next day? So everybody's seeing, Sami didn't post yesterday, she's got strike 1. Is that what you're posting?
That they do see. So this morning, there was a girl who didn't check in and I said, so-and-so, strike 1. And I removed anyone who had strike 2. And then they see the next thread. So it's also kind of their way of other people seeing it. And I've done it about 6 times now in the last year. And every time, usually it's when my coaches really start thriving because they start realizing what they're not doing, or some people get discouraged and they go away, but that's also because they haven't been putting in the work and now they're trying to go 0 to 1,000,000. So I tell them before they get into the tracker group, this isn't going to be easy if you haven't been working your business, but if you're ready to level up, this is exactly what Diamond coaches do. So I think that's kind of important. So the tracking group is a huge, huge help. And then probably the other biggest thing that at NLC that I was talking about, if you guys ever saw Rob Pearson's National Wake Up Call about the internship, Rob and Chelsea are Jamie and Steve's upline. And so Rob and Chelsea developed the internship. Jamie and Steve made it their own, and then I kind of made it my own too. So it's pretty cool to watch the progression. But I will say, when Jamie and Steve added one of my coaches in their internships, it was one coach that she works so hard. And our personalities, we're really great friends. But for some reason, there was just a disconnect. And she was doing all the things. And she finally hit Diamond when Jamie and Steve took her in. And she's been Diamond ever since. She became 1 star. And so I realized at that moment, I think there are people that I need to make sure that I am honing in on that are not my personally sponsored coaches that need that extra push. And so I started running the internship about once a quarter, and it's for my whole downline. It's the only time in the year that I work with my coaches, except for the random, this coach went MIA and this coach underneath them is crushing it. But it's the only time that I do more one-on-one stuff with them, because Jamie always taught me to just work with my people and then train them to work with their people. So I do kind of focus on that. But the internship is 1 month long. And like I said, it's every quarter. It's not during a month where I'm trying to recruit a lot of people. It's a month that I can kind of sit back and work with my team. And it's probably the 50-50 mindset at that point. That month, I need to know that I'm going to take on less people myself. But I also try to look at my coaches and strategically choose people that are working really hard, that are going to benefit my coaches. Someone that has like a disconnect, that's been hitting Success Club, but somehow not Diamond, but they apply. So every person who has 4 active coaches or more is eligible for entering the internship. I say 4 because Jamie did 4, and like for me to do an intense internship and they have just signed up mom and dad, they're not necessarily ready for what I'm going to be teaching them. So in the internship, I choose anywhere from 6 to 12 people. 12 would be if I had another coach running it with me. I've only done that like twice, but the internship, I've ran a lot more times than that. And it's pretty amazing to watch the collaboration because I usually put them as a success partner. And the application, everyone always asks questions. Things like, why do you feel like you want to be chosen for this internship? What are you currently doing in your business? How many hours a week do you dedicate towards it? And what is the progression of the last couple of months of Success Club? Because if someone's at 6, 0, 0, 3, 0, 6, I want to see someone that's more like 2, 4, 4, 6, like someone that's kind of progressing in the right direction. Not to say that I wouldn't choose someone else, but a competitive applicant is someone who has 4 active coaches that's hitting Success Club that I notice is on like team calls and things that are, you know, going above and doing the things, but there's something missing or they just need extra help. So usually in a perfect internship, half are my PS coaches, half are downline coaches. And then again, they check in with a tracker every day. This is in a Facebook group. And this is something that I'll post every morning. I just plan a check-in post from like 6 a.m. or something. And they have the morning check-in and the night check-in. Morning is the PD check-in, 1 chapter. Anywhere book from the Slight Edge to the 10X Rule. Usually those are two of my favorites. And then the night check-in is a tracker check-in. They can use the Success Club tracker or the one Kate and I created, their choice. And then nothing is super different than the tracking group, except for we do have a weekly call. So they get on a Zoom for me, pick my brain. I go over anything that I feel like they're struggling with. And then they have 2 training calls a week. 2 being any topic like, what exactly am I doing sending in my invites, trying to get them to kind of 10x their invites, what to put in a team page, because a lot of my coaches that are pushing a Diamond, they don't even have a team page and they don't even know what to put in it. But all of my leading coaches post in their team page every day. So trying to get them to set up that type of structure. One being how to run a 24-hour to Emerald call, push to Emerald call, getting their coaches to kind of rank advance things that we've done in the past. And then another topic would be anything like, why a second business center? What about the second business center is the goal? And I break down my business centers and I tell them exactly where they're at, because for me, when I have someone who even has 6 active coaches, they want to know, why am I not cycling? Like why am I only cycling $14, $16, $18? And so I will go through their back office on these, like I'll do a one-on-one call with each of the girls in the internship. And I'll look at their back office and I'll say, you know, you have 3 coaches here, 3 coaches here. In a perfect world, they all order Shakeology. You only have 270 PV on this leg. Like, let's talk about that. And so I show them that Diamond isn't the end game, it's the start game. And 2-star is where the freaking excitement comes from it all. And so I'll talk about that. Then what else do I do in the internship? We'll do a business builder check-in every single week. Jamie actually does this in her PS page, and I love it even where I'm at in the business. And it's just, what Success Club are you at? How many coaches have you recruited? Have you rank advanced? Have you helped anyone rank advance? And it's simple, but it is a constant check, because I have a lot of coaches, and I used to do this my first year. I would get to the 25th, I'd be at SC2, and then I'd be scrambling the last week trying to hit Success Club, working my butt off, and I would be exhausted on the first day of the month. You see 0, and you'd be like, I just did all that work. Oh my gosh, this is so stressful. And so I try to get them to kind of do, you know, 1 person every 10 days, and then, you know, slowly bump up that goal. But every week, just kind of reevaluating, where are we at? Where are we going? And when they see other people on the board, sometimes it's a discouraged, sometimes it's not, but it's cool to see their own progression. I try to remind them of that. Like, if you were at 2 and now you're at 4, you're in good standing. Who cares that she's at 10? Doesn't matter. So that is really the internship in a nutshell. And the goal of the internship isn't necessarily, and the tracking group, the goal isn't to have them hit diamond in the group. It's usually to have them hit it the next months, because what they're doing is finally doing the things diamond coaches do that are going to happen in subsequent months. Like one of my interns, she was struggling with Success Club. She would hit it, but barely. And in the internship, she did all the things, was really frustrated. She wasn't pushing for diamond. She hit Success Club the next month on the second day because of all the follow-ups she had created in the internship. And she's like, oh, okay, I get it. And so the first internship, or the first 2 internships, we had 8 out of 11 people end up hitting diamond. And sometimes people quit, and that's devastating, but it's also like you met them halfway. And I think it's a blessing when that happens, because I'm able to either tell my PS coach, hey, this isn't the person that's going to help you hit 2-star, or it's my own benefit of being like, I know you love her, but she's not ready. She might be someday, but she's not ready right now. So the internship, the tracking group, and the challenge groups, I guess that was my big focus at NLC. But do you guys have any questions about that or literally anything else?
Before they ask questions, I want to make an observation that I hope you all made as well. Did you notice what the common thread is in all her groups? The word that she said over and over and over and over again? The tracking. Over and over and over again. Tracking. So whether you're taking this in as a person who's going to help your coaches, or you're taking it in as a person who's helping you, the key, she said, in every group she's running is tracking. We heard Kate Schultes talk about tracking. We heard Kim Fitzpatrick talk about tracking. I don't know. Call me crazy. It feels like tracking might be something we'd want to do. I don't know. Whether you're using the Success Club tracker, whether you're using, I have the Rise Up that sits, right here. Whatever you're using, if you're not tracking, it's no different than if you're not tracking your calories to lose weight, or if you're not tracking are my children walking behind me? Are they just like, well, yeah, I know. This is a new normal now. We all have to get used to people being in the house that weren't in the house for a while. But if you want to save money, like any of that kind of stuff, you're tracking it. So why would our business be any different? Because then you've got this amazing tool to assess that, like Sami, like you said, like if they're doing all the things, they're not hitting Success Club. Okay, there's a disconnect somewhere. Now you can look at that tracker and decide what might that be. But if they're just like throwing it out into the dark and hoping something happens, it's the rare coach that can do that and build a sustainable business that changes lives for the long term. So I just wanted to make sure that we all noticed that tracking was the magical word.
Yeah, I feel like even where I'm at, sometimes I just overcomplicate the business. Like I want to just do all the shiny things and implement this and implement that. And every time my Success Club numbers are lower, it's because I had stopped tracking, or I sent less invites the previous month. And I mean, it is every time. It's like crazy.
It's almost like sometimes we don't want to track because we then have to acknowledge what we're not doing.
I agree.
So if we don't track, then we just live in this world of, well, I'm doing all the things. And but if you track, then you know if you're doing all the things. And isn't that better to have the data? If there's no emotion attached to it, it's just data. It's just information. There's no point in attaching any emotion to it. Okay, what questions do you guys have? Veterans first, since she spoke a little bit of that. Rihanna, anything from that she talked about that follow up from NLC, because clearly you didn't have a chance to really talk with her at NLC, so now you do. Anything that you want to ask her? Just veterans, April, Rebecca, Rihanna?
I was just going to ask, can you type in the chat the lady's name that you used for Etsy? Like I love simplifying and not having to create myself, even though I could, I don't want to. So if you could chat or like put her name in there, that would be super helpful. I really I feel like Julie and I were just talking about this same thing last night of diamond is the starting point. And as a veteran coach, I did that same thing where I was like, oh, I'm diamond, yay. And then I was like, why am I not making any money? Like, what's going on? So, yeah, great. Well, great.
Yeah, I mean, when I hit diamond, I'll never forget it. Rob Pearson texted me that day, and he's like, congratulations on diamond. Now we're going to push for 1 star. And I remember it was like 9 a.m. And I was like, I am celebrating today. And it was the best piece of advice, one of the best pieces of advice I've ever gotten, because it got me into the mindset of, yes, celebrate, but you're ready to go. You're ready to start. And I mean, I entirely agree. I think Diamond is amazing, but 2-star is incredible. And that's where I want all of my coaches to really start obtaining, because that's what changes your life. I mean, financially, emotionally, and things like that. I mean, you can do the programs and stuff physically, and obviously that helps emotionally too, but it's just, there's a reason people say it, for sure.
Yeah, I really, I was the one that was at NLC, and I just absolutely loved hearing you. And I was texting Julie. I was like, oh my God, Sami Glonek is amazing, simply because a lot of us are veteran coaches, and you were speaking right to me. Like, I've been doing this for a while. I got burnt out on this. Like, post your sweaty selfie. Like, I drink the same strawberry blueberry shake every day. I've added some chocolate chips on top. It's pretty amazing. But like, you know, it's like those type of things. You really spoke to me, and I told Julie how awesome you were. But I threw in our thread some of the pictures that she was talking about, like the stuff that you had at NLC that were on the boards. I still have those. So I don't have any follow-up questions. A lot of it was just awesome. I just love it. And I still have all my notes and things like that. I just think I love your organization. And I wrote down that Diamond isn't the end game, it's the start game. And I think we probably all did.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. At the first link I sent you, I think there's a different Danielle Nazar, but the second link is the exact Challenger guide. And if you go to that and you click her name, it's just Danielle Nazar Design. This actually guide was cheaper than when I bought it, but she has tons of Beachbody stuff. So hopefully that link works. But I'm glad you liked what I had to say at NLC. I had so much fun there. That was probably one of my favorite events, and I didn't even really attend it. It was so fun. The energy was amazing.
Rebecca, do you have anything from a vet perspective?
I don't have any questions. I think that our team in general, like, totally vibes with what you're kind of like no nonsense. Like, this is what we're doing. And these Diamond Mastermind pods, I think that we've got started is right aligned with that, and the tracking, and like, we're already seeing people that are said they wanted it and really don't. And it's kind of just that point of letting go of those people who aren't really doing the work and focusing on the people that are doing the work, and then going from there. Because I think as a vet coaches, we can all agree we've spent way too much time dragging coaches along that just sucks our energy out of it. And it's one of those, like, kind of like getting burnt out on challenge groups. We just get burnt out on these coaches that don't do anything, even though we want it so bad. We see the potential in them, and then they just don't show up for themselves. And we have to kind of just let go and know that we can't do the work for them, but be here for the people who do, or be here for them when they decide they do.
Yeah, that's great.
I have a question. So Sami, you've done a great job, and like everything that you said today was, you know, pretty much what was happening at NLC. With, you've got this internship, and I just love how that's set up. You do that once every quarter. You've got your tracking teams. What would you say is a bridge between somebody who's starting out in a Diamond? You know, you don't have the structure for this yet. Where would you go in the middle of that? What kind of systems would you put in place for the middle?
Yeah, so for the tracking group, honestly, if you had 1 or 2 people, what I would do is I would team up with another coach that had 1 or 2 people and run the same thing. I didn't run an internship until 2018, late in the year. So that's totally something to, you know, you could even if you had 1 person to put in an internship, if you really wanted to run that structure and you had someone with 4 active coaches or about that, you could run it with another coach. I think a lot of my coaches do that. They started running these tracking groups and they didn't have the amount of people, which is totally fine. All you need is 1. So I wouldn't look at numbers in the sense of I need, 20 people to start. I think that you can pair up with someone who's of the recent and normal type of similar caliber, I guess, and then put those people together. I think success pods are super important. I didn't usually run pods, but that was another thing I spoke at NLC. I put people in pods based on current rank, and then I reevaluated every quarter just because Some people are emerald and then they drop and then they're just in an emerald pod for 6 months, or vice versa. They're diamonds and they're back to emerald. So I kind of reevaluate that. But again, a lot of my coaches just have 1 or 2 business builders and they put their people in a little pod, and it's kind of a mini mastermind. So for all my pods, like when I'm working, I mean, not every single time because that would be all the time, but when I'm sitting down and I'm just going to send invites for like an hour, I'll send them a Zoom link, and it's just a constant little mastermind of saying, hey, this is what I'm doing. You want to jump on? Sure. So if the mini mastermind, you could do something like that. Like, hey, I know that you both are emerald and you both have 2 active coaches. Do you want to just do a weekly little brainstorm for 30 minutes every Wednesday until we kind of see her for the next month, so that you have like an end date rather than we're going to do this for a year and you guys are both still at 2 active coaches, but your goal every week is to add 1 more and 1 more and 1 more. And then after 4 weeks of it, if nothing's happened, you know that that's the next idea is coming up rather than just continuing to beat a dead horse. So that's personally what I would do. Again, like Julie said, I'm very much about the tracker because it works. Like, I think it's crazy that our business gives us exactly what we need to do. And so when you can get your new coaches to see that, or if you guys are a newer coach and you're not necessarily tracking, it's the best thing for you because it is super. I mean, for me, when I started tracking, when I was pushing to diamond, there was an entire category of, I was not sending coach invites ever. Like, I would talk about the business and I would talk to people about the business, but I was just sending boot camp, all the challenger invites, and I was hitting Success Club, but I was missing an entire category. And then I started tracking and doing diligently what I needed to be doing. And so the sooner you can get your coaches to just say, this is your Bible, like this is the Beachbody Bible, and get them to see that it doesn't have to be, you need to watch 3 training calls and you need to go through this mentorship and do this and that. Like, simple to me is easier. And yes, it's a little bit micromanaging between the tracking groups. It's not something I do every single month, but it's simple in the grand scheme of, am I going to sit down and have a one-on-one call with all 30 of those people? No. There's going to be, 15 people left, and maybe you start with 3 and you have 1 left. Cool. Get on a one-on-one call with someone that showed up every single day last month, and let's break down your back office. Like, where are we struggling? Where are we succeeding? And so one of the girls went back this month. I was going to kind of just try something new, because if you've been around in this business, you have people in your back office that you're not checking in with every single week. And so I found 3 people, and I reached out to 3 people and I said, I know you can be successful. I know you've been showing up, but there's been a disconnect. You're not necessarily hitting Success Club, and I haven't gotten a one-on-one call with you. So let's try this. And it's more of my own trial period of saying, are they coachable? One of the girls, I gave her 3 tasks. Get a preset on your photos. Start posting a call to action in your stories every day. Here are some examples, and make sure you have 10 stories. You know what she's done for the past week and a half? Her entire Instagram looks different. And it's pretty freaking cool to watch that, because I have a note. All I have a note in my planner, check in with these 3 people, give them 3 new tasks. And it's also my way of saying, don't forget about them, but also don't give all of your time to these people, but they might need a little bit one-on-one. And Jamie and Steve were really the ones to lead me to that, because we have some of the people, but we just need to figure out, is there a disconnect on their end? Is there a disconnect on my end? And is there a disconnect in general? And so for me, this is like a really easy way of reevaluating it, because at least one of the 3 of the girls that I reach out to could be someone that I can mentor to diamond. I've just kind of forgot about her because she hasn't really been asking for one-on-ones, and she's there, but she's not really right in my face. So that's another kind of a suggestion too, because you can meet them halfway without jumping on a one-on-one for the next 2 hours.
I love this so much, because not only are the 3 veterans getting some super tangible ideas, but you who are newer are understanding what we're looking for and who we'd want to work with. Isn't that awesome? Like, also, no one did this kind of stuff when I was a coach. So like, knowing this, this is so powerful to not only as a newer coach know what your coach might be looking for, but also to have that mindset going into who you would want to work with yourself as your team grows. Because every one of you is going to be a 2-star diamond and beyond. So why would you not want to know that now? And for veterans to get new ideas, fresh ideas from someone who's been in the business 5 years rather than 12. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. You know, you could get in that rut of doing the same thing over and over again. And so I think the diversity, the kind of the both ends of the spectrum is so cool for me right now. Anything else that newbies, do you have? I shouldn't even call you guys newbies anymore. What should I call you? Because I say veterans. What do I call? What? There's got to be a better word. I don't know. Someone think of a better word than newbies, because it feels so like, let me rock you to sleep tonight. Come on, we're better than that. If you guys have any questions, anything that she said that, yeah, Liz, go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, I think I'm unmuted. I'm on
Yeah.
my phone, sorry.
Good.
So I just wanted to share and just say thank you. Jen and I are kind of going through, we feel like we're pulling our challengers. So this is where I'm at right now. And just to, doing that partnership, doing the weekly posts of Sunday through Saturday, this is what we're working on and things like that. I think will really help our group increase their engagement, because we have those solid people that post and a lot of it's the same repetition, but we need some more life and a little more jazz in there too. So I wanted to say thank you for sharing that and providing those great ideas. So,
I'm glad you mentioned that collaboration, Liz. I was really glad that you mentioned that too, Sammy. So I'm glad that you picked that up, Liz, because we get behind these laptops and these desktops and on these phones and we think we got to do all this on our own. And why? Like, no one said that. That's not on the tracker. You must work this entire business on your own forever to the end of time. No, it doesn't say that anywhere. But I don't know. So we do, and we forget that we can collaborate. So, and it doesn't have to just be collaborate on a challenge group. It can be collaborate on a business group too.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool with the threads too, because I'm a 3 on the Enneagram, so I thrive off like recognition and letting people know that this is what's going on. Because if you have, a daily check-in, you're going to have, and you have 10 people in your challenge group, you might have like 5 or 10 to 20 check-ins. You have a bigger challenge group, you have a week-long thread. Now people see that there are hundreds of comments because you checked into everyone's posts, they checked in, and it's pretty cool. I mean, one of my coaches is the best I've ever seen at challenge groups, and she will get over 1,000 comments on her weekly check-ins because her people are just crushing it. And so it's an easy shameless plug to say, look there's 45 check-ins this week in my group. How freaking powerful is that? And it's not to say that you aren't 10 of them, but I mean, it's an easy screen recording you post on Instagram, and that kind of stuff is very different in the feed for sure.
That's social proof that what we're doing is working.
Mm-hmm.
And creating community, and especially now, in this climate right now, creating that community and creating those connections. So good stuff. Any last other questions? Anything you want to ask her before she goes back to the sunshine in California and we all don't go back to the sunshine?
One question. And this is all so much great information. And I love that you are so systems, because that's totally my brain. So one of the questions that I was thinking of is, we have the challenge tracker, and I love it for the accountability part, where I can go back behind the scenes and see who's done their workout, who's drinking their shake, and having those behind the scene conversations. But I feel like it loses that community connective piece. So I'm just curious, do you use it in tandem with Facebook? Are you just on Facebook? What are your thoughts on the tracker?
So I think the challenge tracker is great. I think it really depends on the coach. One of the solutions to that, if you wanted to go to Facebook, is my coach Alex developed, she calls it like workout unicorns. So every single week she updates her cover photo, and every person at the end of the week documents how many workouts they got in. So it's not that she's going through and counting, she checked in 1, 2, 3, but at the end of the week, it's how many workouts did you get in? And so on that cover photo, she'll feature the people who worked out, 5+ days that week. And so if you really wanted to keep that recognition piece of, I saw that you drank, 4 shakes. One of the check-ins I did last week for my weekly thread is every single day they had to rate themselves 1 to 5. So 1 to 5 on nutrition, 1 to 5 on water, 1 to 5 on fitness, 1 to 5 on self-care, and 1 to 5 on how many times they checked into the group, AKA go check it. So pretty cool to watch that collaboration, because at the end of the week, they gave themselves a total. And their goal was to obviously go from, 15 out of 25 to 25 out of 25. And that was another cool way to promote recognition and things like that, because you could say, wow, so-and-so ended at this high of a number, and you could feature that on your board. And so there are ways around it if you really wanted to get away from the challenge tracker. But I personally don't use it, simply because I already have so many apps on my phone that I consistently check, even outside of Beachbody. So for me to add another one in, that was part of why I didn't love challenge groups, because I wasn't doing it. So I think it's personal preference entirely, because some of my coaches thrive on the challenge tracker because they're away from Facebook, whereas I'm the complete opposite. So I think that's kind of up to you, but I do think there are ways around it if you wanted to switch.
Okay.
And I also think that with the new bod groups coming out, they have heard all of those concerns that you have, Joy, about like missing that community piece. So there's going to be like threaded posts, and now you can respond with an emoji instead of just liking it. You're going to be able to respond differently. So they've taken everything that we liked about Facebook and combined it with what we like about the My Challenge Tracker app. So I know that it's not coming out right now, but I think that if you do like the My Challenge Tracker app but you do like those community pieces of Facebook, you probably will really like the bod groups. It's my understanding that at Super Weekend, we're going to have a huge like training, like walkthrough on that. But I'm with you. That's something that I like the My Challenge Tracker app, but I miss the community piece that I think Facebook brings. So I'm really excited about that. So if you are on My Challenge Tracker app and you like it, I wouldn't like completely jump ship yet, because we may be taking some of those community pieces, and I would hate for you to transition over to Facebook and then feel like you have to transition all the way back. But if you totally like Facebook, then obviously Samantha's shown us it can work. So it's not like Julie's told us a million times, there's not one way to work this business. There's as many ways as humans on this earth to work this business, and you just have to do what works for you and own it and move on.
I've also learned that if Carl Deichler tells me I should do something, I just kind of do it. I don't know if that's always positive or not, but I'm like, man's built a multi-billion-dollar company, seems to know what he's doing, would like me to be on bod groups. Okay, I'm going to go that direction. I mean, I guess someday he'll tell me something that I probably shouldn't follow, but right now I just he's reading this, but I'm reading that book. He uses this plan. Yep, I'm using that planner. So I kind of follow his lead. So this was so great, Sami. Thank you for spending some time with us. I just love a good mastermind. And I will say that, these coaches who are on here, just like you, Sami, could be any place else. And, sometimes you can't get on live because, as Karen said, she had doing stuff for her full-time job and whatever. But, when you choose to get on here and you choose to make it a priority, you're coachable, you're engaged, 100% those are the coaches who are going to build a business. 100% they are. Over 12 years, I've watched it. So it's true for you as our speaker and us as our listeners, and we just really appreciate it. So we're all going to go to Etsy now and buy a guide. And hold on, before we go, let me take a quick little boomerang so that I can tag everyone, and then you guys can repost on your stories and tell Sami, thank you. Remind me, don't move the phone, just press the button. I always have to remind myself that. I'm going to show you. I'm going to make it full screen. Don't move the phone. Just press the button, Julie. Everyone else moves. I don't move the phone. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's not going. Hold on. I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I got it. Instagram, it's funny like that. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. And you are Short Girl Fitness on Instagram, yeah? Okay. Thank you. We appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thanks for having me, guys.